Hey guys, and welcome to my channel. And this video today we will be painting a beautiful red car in the snow, of course another wintry landscape. And this time I did make my sketch, and also the sketch will be available for download from my website, so there is a link in the description. You can go ahead, check it out, download it for yourself, trace it and join me. First thing, when finished with the sketch, I pre-wetted the paper, but actually just the part above the snow, above the horizon line, I guess. And I was being careful not to go into my car, and also in that part where the snow is, picked up a little bit of my mix of colors that I prepared. And when doing the first wash, I did do a very light color wash also, and I did mix blue, violet and black to get this. I guess this is a beautiful color for winter and for winter night, something like that. And mix of those two colors, I thought they would look nice. Then I've painted in a little bit of darker wash, and then on top of it slightly tilted my paper and then added the horizontal line, the vertical lines for the trees. And when finished with that, I turned my paper around again, used some black, and then added black on top of my mix of colors to make some parts just slightly darker. Also, I did want my trees to be a little bit taller, so I did add on top of it just a little bit of black to make them look slightly taller, and the middle part I did leave a little bit lighter, looking like maybe the forest is, having the trees a little bit taller, a little bit smaller, and generally that part around the car is a little bit lighter, and on the sides I've painted the trees just a little bit darker. Then when finished with that, I pre-wetted my paper where the snow is and started to paint actually the shadows in the snow. I'm not gonna paint the entire snow in one wash, but just the shadows. And this time I'm using a brush with a pointed tip because I do want to have a little bit more control over my shadows where I'm adding those shadows. And you can see I'm not doing a large amounts of large places of shadows, but just smaller lines, smaller washes here and there. And then when finished with that brush, I moved on to even a smaller brush to get even more control over my shadows. And as you can see, I'm just again wiggling it and making it look as though there are some little hills in the snow, that the snow is actually uneven, and then adding a little bit of the darker color here and there on my shadows. And I'm doing all of that while the paper is wet and the paint is spreading and bleeding, so they will all blend together and look beautiful at the end without any very sharp edges. You can see that right now. Afterwards, I did dry slightly the top part where the wood is, and then before it dried completely, I've added a little bit of white gouache, sprinkles with white gouache, because I do want them to blend slightly into the color, but not too much. I did not want its paper to be too wet, so I did slightly dry it, and after sprinkling with white gouache, I've dried it completely. Then moved on, of course, the part where the snow is also, then moved on to painting my car. And for the car, I'm using red. So you can basically use any red that you have that is really red, not any darker red or less saturated. This one has to be screaming red. So I did add it I did paint it onto my car, and as you can see, I'm just painting the entire car body, skipping the parts where the tires are, where the bumpers are, where the lights are, also where the windows are, but just painting the entire car. When getting to the roof of the car and also the back side of the car, I did not do a one same even wash, but I've used pretty much almost dry brush and paint with almost not any water in it, and painted in some parts. As you can see, just dry brushed the top because I do want it to look as though there is the snow. There will be the most of the snow, so I did do that like that. I did not want it to paint the entire roof and then add a lot of white gouache on top of it, but I just painted in some parts doing the dry brushing technique. Then with black and dark brown. I've painted in the parts where the tires are, and you can see I went a little bit overboard with my back tires, so I had to add on the front also that brownish color, black and brownish color, but at the end it turned out to be nice. Also, I've painted in the inside part of the car, and I've added just a little bit of dark brown into my mix of reds to paint in that inner side. And then with, again, same issue that I used for the trees, I've painted in the windows on my car because I do want to look as though you can see the wood, of course, through the window. So I'm using same colors as I did for the wood. And you can see those white parts that I did leave here and there. Those will be the white parts for the snow. And when we finish with our car, that will all make sense. I've also painted the bumpers in that grayish color to make them look as though they are made out of metal, and paint them in a light wash, and then on top of it here and there added some darker color, making it look as though again it is in shadow. In the same color I painted the lights on the car, and also of course the front window. And when finished with that, I just picked up a little bit of black, and this one, maybe better thing to do is to add a little bit of green into your red that you used, and use that, make it a little bit slightly darker, and then use that color for these lines that I'm doing right now. Not really black. You could go overboard and add too much black and it will just look very, very bad. So just add just a little bit of green in your red that you use for car, and then paint those lines for the doors, for the those parts of the car. You know what I mean. And then when finished again with that, just pick up white gouache, and I am using white gouache straight from the tube. I'm not actually adding any water to them, any water, just using them very, very creamy and very, very not watered down. So just use white gouache straight from the tube, creamy, and add it on top. You can maybe just pick up just a little bit of water in your brush, but as you can see, I'm using this very, very small detail brush because I don't want to use a larger brush. If you use a larger brush and put it into your water, rinse it in water, it will have too much water in it, whatever you do. So just pick up some smaller brush, or maybe a brush that has maybe a synthetic brush, and you can dry that one a little bit more easily than maybe a real hairbrush. And as I said, I'm using this very, very small brush, picking up paint, creamy texture of the paint, and adding it on top of my car, and you can see gorgeous snow appearing on the car. Also, when you're adding that white gouache, just mind the shape of the car, just don't add that white gouache in a straight horizontal line. Just add them in vertical lines, horizontal lines, round lines. Just follow the shape of the car. And then when finished with that white gouache, I've added some shadows beneath the cars, again using same colors as I did use for the background, mix of blue, violet and black, and then added just a little bit more of the black nearest to the car to make those shadows the darkest. And with that, I am actually finished with my car. And one more thing that I'm gonna do is add some snow. Of course, this, if you wanted to learn how to paint the snow and winter, well, this is my videos, and this is definitely it for you, because we are painting a lot of snow. So that is a great opportunity for you to learn to paint snow. So, just watch my videos, paint with me, and no worries about snow anymore. So white sprinkles, then added just a little bit of black into that white gouache to make that grayish color, and sprinkle in a lower part where the snow is, because there white sprinkles won't be visible. And with that, I'll be finishing off this painting and of course this video. I hope you guys like it. It is actually very much simpler than it maybe look on a first glance. And if you do like this video, please hit the like button, share it, comment. And if you haven't still, please do subscribe to my channel. That would really mean a lot to me. Maybe consider joining my channel. There is that join button next to the subscribe. Well, maybe click on that, listen to the offer and decide. Again, thank you so much for watching and I hope I'll see you next time. Bye!